If you're looking for some leftist books, I got you covered. My name is Justin. I run a leftist reading series, and I just finished putting together the 2025 list of books coming up, and it's a good list, if I do say so myself. There are 6 books on the list. I will talk you through them real quick, and if you would like to read along with these books at any point, I have the schedule up on socials and on that Patreon feed, but you can go and sign up to that Patreon feed absolutely for free for this main feed stuff and read along with these books. I think they're incredibly important, and I think that this is kind of the perfect moment to get into these books and start reading. So let's dig in without further ado. First on the list, it starts January 3rd, is Anarchism and Other Essays by Emma Goldman. Emma Goldman's kind of a tough one. She doesn't have many books out there, but she has a ton of work out there. Essays, lectures, letters, things that she's written, and this is a perfect compilation of some of her main thoughts. This is Emma Goldman, I should say, probably the most famous American anarchist working at the tail end of the 1800s, early 1900s, and the things that she has to say in this book are just incredible, and they range from commentary on the prison system to education to feminism. She has some deeply controversial takes in here, but at the same time, some really fascinating stuff. This is a pretty easy introduction to her thought as well. It's a fairly short book. You can get it for free online, and I recommend jumping in here. Next on the list is, of course, Eduardo Galeano's Open Veins of Latin America. This is an account of the colonization and extraction of resources from Latin America, from colonization back in the 1500s to the roughly present day, the 1970s. This is one of those books that is so titanically important that there's a very famous story of the first time that Hugo Chavez met Barack Obama and he presented him with a copy of this book. This book is astounding and I think kind of a must read, not just for people who want to understand Latin America or the modern world better, but just for people who want to have their eyes opened by Galeano, who was a poet and a writer and a journalist, spent a long time exiled from his native Uruguay. This is just a tremendously important book to read. And I do, just as a brag, have this 50th anniversary edition of the Spanish version, Menos Abiertas de América Latina. We will be doing the English version in this video introduction, but the Spanish version is just, it's such a classic. It's tough to get away from. And I love this book. I love this book, so I'm excited to dig into it. The next book is a little tough. There's a lot of theory. There's a lot going on here, and it's a very long book. So this is not for the faint of heart. But if you are interested in real anarchist philosophy, you might want to pick up a copy of Murray Bookchin's The Ecology of Freedom. This book is unbelievable and extremely important, never more so than now, but it's also quite dense. And that's why I think a video series, the lectures that I will put up, may help you get through this book just in terms of kind of reading and understanding the content here, because this is Murray Bookchin, who was an American anarchist until he sort of fell out of favor a little bit with the anarchist movement in the United States. Bookchin is a really fascinating guy, and he has this vision of anarchism that's rooted in ecology and very pure in a sense. He talks about hierarchy and power in a way that is quite absolute. This book can be quite utopian at points, and there are certainly bits of this book that I don't necessarily agree with myself, but it is nonetheless a kind of foundational work for the modern ecological, anarcho kind of activist style of anarchism that you see today that I think is just a tremendous book and really cool to get into. So we'll be taking a look at Bookchin, and you can find out exactly when. Wait, I can tell you. It's the 21st of March. That's going to be coming up on the 21st of March next year. We will be reading The Ecology of Freedom. After that, we are going to one of maybe the most important Marxist feminist writers living today. This is Silvia Federici's Caliban and the Witch. I think this book is so good and will rewrite your understanding, not just of feminism or Marxism necessarily, but literally your understanding of history. In this book, Federici sets out to prove that modern capitalism could not exist without the initial and ongoing subjugation, domination, and control of women, and especially the work that women do in a modern capitalist society, essentially for free. This is a critique of Marx, but it's also extremely Marxist at the same time. And the insights that come out of this book, it's tough to say enough about them. So to be able to dig into Caliban and the Witch is just... It's such a pleasure, and that will be starting on the 9th of May. After that, book 5 out of 6. I mean, come on. Angela Davis, Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Angela Davis, probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest living activists, feminist, Marxist thinkers out there. Her thoughts on prison reform, on the police, on Palestine, and modern-day feminism. I mean, it could not be more important. This is another one of those books that is fairly beginner-friendly, if you're looking for more of an introduction to these kinds of things, this is a very good one to start with. It's fairly short as well, so if you're looking to jump in, this is a good time to do it. That will be June 20th. We'll be getting into Freedom is a Constant Struggle. Finally on the list, and this is going to take us through September, but we'll start on August 1st. We are looking at David Graeber's Debt, the First 500 Years. This book is so eye-opening. And for me, as a student of economics for my undergrad and master's, I mean, this is a book that really opens your eyes to the way that debt controls us all, the way that debt underpins everything. It's David Graeber, so it's very readable and very understandable. It's fairly long, but it's also so important. It's not particularly dense, although it has a lot of history to it. And I generally think that everybody should kind of read that the First 500 Years to get an understanding of the world, how it works, and how we have set up this system that underpins absolutely everything in our lives. Check that out. Again, August 1st. You can check all of these out at the Patreon, patreon.com/Champagne Anarchism. I look forward to seeing you there. I'm trying to create a bit of a community, so I'm hoping that we can foster some discussion over there, and I'm going to be investing a lot more time into that project in 2025, so I am just really excited to get started on all of these. Let me know if you have any comments, anything in particular that you love about these books or that we should keep in mind or take a look at as we go into it. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I will see you very soon.